have here in the museum. B-57 Canberra, basically a British design that they gave us the license to build some of these. Used it out there along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Kind of something the Air Force kind of wanted to help out with the mission of the 6 troopers over there in Vietnam. This was an EV version, actually, that was called by the
Tchockozza.
Here's the LC-130 on the other side. I won't talk much about it.
Turismo aqui no ferro velho de aviões militares, cemitério de avião militar.
Again, now there's only one unit in America that does that.
Segundo vídeo aí.
Unit of Air National Guard. The only unit in America, they're the ones that went in there in 1899 and got that female scientist on that self-diagnosed herself with breast cancer. Because of our budget cuts and everything else, basically some of our daughters and sons are in addition to it. They won't just go on the you don't realize that. Okay, Jerry knows I always stop from the Viper jet. This is where I spent about my last 15 years flying. This is an airplane that doesn't want to land. Basically wants to fly. The whole body is a lifting surface. It's one of the most maneuverable airplanes I've ever done and flown for the F-35, F-22, and one of the newer Soviet fighters. Basically, that's a turning machine. It can also wrap you around yourself almost. It's called the electric jet. Why? Because it was the first true flying airliner fighter we had. When you flew it, your little side stick controller over here, it was like playing a video game. And when you made inputs into that controller, it would talk to the A, B, and C branch, and D branch of the computer. There are 4 branches of being what you were trying to do, what you do. 3 branches of green, you still pretty good. 2 branches of green, then you're in trouble. But anyways, basically what was happening with the speed of light, so this thing was a turning machine. It was all lost run to somewhere we called what's called G-ROT, G-loss consciousness. This airplane came out with brand new capable of pulling 9 Gs. Like the ones we had at Toledo, we had the big engines in there to sustain 9 Gs. We didn't have too much stuff hanging under the wings. So your outflights were 15 to 20 minutes, so you're hot and tired, you're sweating, what you want to do is back and land, you leave, have a full beer, but instead you're going to go hit the tanker, go fight for 20 minutes more training. Now you're really hot and tired, and you don't strain where you're supposed to keep your blood up into your head when you pull those 9 Gs. You ask for it, you get it, you don't strain, the blood goes from your brain to your feet, and you're unconscious instantly. Unfortunately, when you have G-loss of consciousness, G-loss, you're gone for 45 seconds before your brain can talk to your hand again. Well, 45 seconds is a long time when you're going straight down. So all of us have lost somebody we knew through a G-loss. That's come up with the F-8 Crusader. First Navy airplane that can go 1,000 miles an hour, fly out on the deck, and our Senator out of Ohio, Senator John Glenn. The astronaut actually set the record back there in the late 60s and early 60s, I guess, coast to coast, Pacific, to the Atlantic, the supersonic flight, 2 hours and 22 minutes in the F-8 Crusader. Rotor machine for the Navy for many years.
Chega a 1.000 milhas por hora. Chegava a 1.000 milhas por hora.
That's coming up over here in the right, would be the A-10 Warhawk. This is what the parent wing here in there, here in the two slot flies, the A-10 Thunderbolt, is a Warhawk. I'm holding up a picture, and I'll pass this down, continue down the garden side, bring it back on the passenger side. This shows big Galley Gatling gun, 7-barrel Gatling gun that's up under the nose there. And when you count the big barrel system up under there, the whole 1,000 rounds, it's as big as a Volkswagen Beetle stuffed up under there. That's why the nose drill doesn't go outside. And they can fire 65 rounds with these vertical and shells every second out of that 7-barrel Gatling gun. So fire rates over 4,000 rounds a minute. Or it takes 5 to 10 rounds to kill a tank for a kill beast. So this airplane's done a lot of great work over the years. The Air Force would like to retire because it's a single mission airplane that only do full service support. So it can't do interconnection, it can't do deep interconnection, it can't do dirty air. So the Air Force would like to retire, we kind of want to keep it around. Next coming up on the right is an F-18. This is the female fighter for the Navy, the F-16, F-15 for the Air Force. This is an overseas model. Let's deal with the bag, that's not short-term storage. Basically, they like putting the bags on some of them. It's about twice as expensive as the spray out, the last price as well. So they're experimenting. The Air Force isn't buying into it with these bags. They even run them out and I bring them out here. They can rip, they can rub the clean off, things like that. So the F-18 is a new airplane now for me. Pretty much comparable to the F-16. Next coming up, we're going to have a few airplanes here. That are considered Century Series airplanes. A lot of people know F-4 is not Century Series, but all ones originally it was supposed to be the F-110. Those Century Series airplanes were the F-100, the F-101, the F-102, the F-104, the F-105, the F-106, and actually the F-4 was supposed to be the F-110. Of course, then we had the F-111 also. Here's one of the early ones, the F-111 Curtiu, high altitude interceptor for our air defense command back there in the early days. Kind of got replaced all that role by the F-110. 6's by the end of its career, he was a fighter bomber in Vietnam, or RF on a wrecking bird with cameras in the nose. Here's the Purple Heart C-130 over here on the left. You look down there in the sign, you see it says Purple Heart recipient. That's the one that took all the dollar damage over there in Vietnam back in the 70s. That's coming up on the road to be an F4. Again, the F4 primary mission of that airplane was built. If it gets another mission on top of that gets turned into a wrecking version, and we'll stick an R in front of it, becomes an RF4. Then at some point they decided to turn it into a drone, use it as a full-scale target drone. They turned it into a Q, and they paint orange all over it. So this actual F4 was turned into a drone that was never shot down, never got to the program where it actually got shot down. Over 5,000 F4s produced. It was our main third-generation fighter for the Marines, for the Navy, and for the Air Force. If there's air energy, air ground, you do everything. Then we have several allies still flying F4. Next will be the F-106. Again, you can see the Q in front of that. There's a dog out here. This one was turned into a drone also and didn't make it into the program. But the straight F-106 version was basically an air defense version, high altitude interceptor, but didn't carry nuclear checked missiles on the wings of the F-106. And then lastly here we have an F-105. Anybody here that was in Vietnam, we used a lot of thuds in Vietnam. This was built to be a nuclear bomber. It outlasted the competition of the F-107 to be a nuclear Canadian fighter.
Esse avião aí que está escrito drone, galera, eles transformaram esse avião para treinamento, treinamento sem piloto.
So 800 of these were built. We lost 395 of them. Not all due to missile shoot-downs. The great majority of those 395 were due to missile shoot-downs. We could not outmaneuver the SA-2 and SA-3 search air missiles and shoot missiles. Okay, coming up next year we have a Navy trainer. Academy. This was used to train gibbs, basically, but they're side-by-side gibbs and A6 intruders. Because if you train about 6 or 7 of those guys at the same time in the back of this airplane instead of one at a time in the intruder. Other side over here we have C-23 Sherpa, really utility airplane used by the Army and Army Guard Reserves. And basically, most of the numbers can change to N numbers, civilian numbers, because the Forest Service is going to generate some of the used for smoke training, smoke jumper training. There's a version of the A6 here called the A6 Power. Whenever we were flying over northern southern Iraq, we did have one of these guys with us, EF-111 until they retired those. These are basically seed aircraft, especially in air defenses. And these guys would carry the missiles that ride down the radar beam, and would also jam. There's a big jamming product on the tail. It was always nice to have these guys around. And I actually said I would not let them turn the radars on, they were shouting our noise, which is way behind the scenes. That's coming up an early trainer for us guys from Ohio here. This is Columbus, Ohio. This is Buckeye. I need to go Ducks. Early Navy trainer. Another T-43 turbo runner. Turbo means has a another early trainer for the Navy. This is how we're looking at airplane that was supposed to replace the C-130 over here on the left. We used to have a YC-15 sit back there, squeeze the a couple years back on us. And we have one of these in our museum. I'm not quite sure why they haven't shredded this one yet. Maybe somebody's going to take that. Now if you look behind its wings, Jerry uses forward, you'll see 03 on the right back there, and another LC-130. That's the Phoenix LC-130 that was buried nice and small for the original 17 years. That's why it looked like it, doesn't it? Yeah, look at it. Another version of the screener over here, like Southern Verification Fuel. But this is painted brown and has Soviet red star in the back and a red number on it. Why is it painted in Soviet camouflage? Well, because it maneuvers a lot like the MiG-17s, MiG-19s, MiG-21 fish rigs. So Navy had a cadre of pilots trained in Soviet tactics that flew these airplanes to train the F-14 and the F-18 guys in Soviet practice. I think they're actually going to use it a little bit top gun. Next airplane from up here is a version of a Viking which you see down the road. This is called the Shadow. So it's a US-3 Shadow. I use the Shadow CG. It's basically a spook aircraft. It's over 16 antennas on this airplane for all kinds of electronic collection, electronic data. Coming up on the other side, now we're talking about electronic airplane for the Navy. This is the Navy version of an AWACS. The Air Force we call AWACS, Airborne Coordinated Control Systems. This is basically the Iron Spy for the main commander of his battle group aircraft carrier. And also a launch a Hawkeye side, get him up at altitude so you get his eyes across the horizon. My big radar dome up there spins around about 6 times a minute. And they say that new version of Gmail process over 25,000 contacts. Process about 300 of them. Basically, it gets splayed back to the aircraft. It's a real capable airplane and it's going to walk out. Well, Vietnam history coming up on the right over here. We got some gunships called the Cobra, and then we have the H-1 Airport. What's the real name of the airport? Nobody calls the airport, everybody calls it U. The H-1U, that little fat one there, the third one. Believe it or not, over the years, we built 10,000 units. We actually still using some of them. We took 7,000 units to the Vietnam area, and it's like Los Angeles, we destroyed 3,300, and 7,000 we took over there. We're going to put the movie to watch, kind of see how this aircraft is. There's a soldiers once you young. There's a story kind of from a hell more. First of the 7th cabin to be around on board helicopters. We went like in November of 65. Shows how we use it. Troop delivery, resupply, gunship, and medevac, sometimes all on the same mission. Not a great gunship, because it couldn't carry a whole lot of stuff, so there's 2 Cobras actually developed in the year. 80% commonality of parts with those Cobra gunships that we did. Coming up on the outside, G-39 Sableye. Sableyes have been used by CEOs back in the 60s to haul the people around. The Navy used this one for training, the Air Force used it for haul generals around. Overlook helicopter coming up on the other side, H-46C Knight. Basically a dual rotor to get up to about 13,000 feet over in Afghanistan for the Marines, so we used a lot. It's been pretty much replaced now by the Osprey aircraft. That's the ones the Marines have, the wing takes off all the helicopter flies like an airplane. It was kind of a cousin of the H-47 Chinook that the Army still uses. Next helicopter is a C-53. We believe it's a straight C-53 version. Super jolly green. Basically, all different versions of the 53. One of the favorite heavier workhorses of the military fleet of helicopters. Next to that is a smaller helicopter called the SH-2 Seaspray. See a little radar under the nose. There's a little orange yellow cone on its right side. The left side is looking at the nose up there. That system is called MAD. Magnetic Anomaly Detection. They deploy that plane back. It looks for disturbance under the radar, which is probably submariners. That basically gets to fire off the frigates and destroyers. Last helicopter today is an H-3C King, Jolly Green Giant in Vietnam era. Used out for SAR, search and rescue for both the Navy and the Air Force in Vietnam. Well, airplane over here on the other side, DC-12, each Super King is kind of on a mail delivery aircraft that Navy's got the outstation in down country for a year remote. What we like better almost in the mail sometimes is with some generals coming down board and down use our block list and bring us some cold cases of American beer. We're always told the generals it was going to rain and they don't come down. Okay, next over here on the right, we have an OH-58 canal. And the Army put about 260 of these last year. Most of them came in the back of C-5 Galaxies. They don't come in the roads, basically. This scout helicopter used by basically retired the entire fleet. Next helicopter on the right, SH-60 Seahawk. Maybe you've heard of the Seahawk, but you've definitely heard of the Black Hawk. This is basically the Navy version of the Black Hawk. We've got the Black Hawk, the Seahawk, the Paint Hawk, and there's another Hawk. The Dash-60 basically version of this helicopter. This is an SH-60, which means we also have an anti-submarine mission, and then rescue and utility missions for the Navy. Down an airplane over here, C-1 trailer, old reciprocating engines. The Navy call this a pod. It's got a carrier on board delivered. Now, I always said the main thing about on the carrier was the mail for the sailors, and one day I had them actually it wasn't all that number than I was. So you're saying really mail wasn't the most important thing. I said, well, it couldn't be good because they said, no, I'm not doing it. But they bought the replacement. You would do the leave, the carrier, the replacement was on that airplane. So that was the most important thing we were looking for. Same airplane, different mission over here, right? That's to tracker. The main tracker, the word S means it's anti-submarine to try to track submarines. Look at that, some conventional stuff, depth charges and things like that. But basically, we have to call in some other support easier to engage the submarine. Okay, pointed out that shadow a while back. Basically, what's being airplane build is a functioning obviously, which was the replacement of the S-2 tracker, the S-3 Viking. Obviously, general engines to fire higher, faster, do that anti-submarine mission better. This is the airplane George Bush No. 2 landed on the aircraft carrier when we declared hostilities and all that. Last airplane on Celebrity Roll, Mohawk. Landing light, aircraft observation. This is again a Grumman aircraft, regular airplane used by the Army for observation in Vietnam. There's that field of the C-130s, there used to be F-14s. Those are C-130s, he took good shape because they come in around 2010. 2005 black, most of the line closure actually had to be good by 2010. That's when most of these C-130s come in, and still running there. See, engines over there on the other side, about 6,000 or 7,000 engines, some of them are moving, some of them are. These are C5, TF39s there, turbofans. And the engines are two big circuit canister. What they do with all the engines is run right through the machine oil after them. And then you put
Isso aqui tudo é motor, galera, tudo é motor de avião. Chegam aqui voando, se brincar, eles estão todos lacrados. Andar corrosão, a maioria deles ainda pode até ser usado para reposição de peças. Mas aqui são as carcaças mesmo, as turbinas no jato.
A lot of F-16s come up here in the lake. There's a lot of F-16s scattered out here. These are just like here. They come full-scale drones. So every 120 days they make another one out of these field here. You take in and start converting it into a 5 and then convert to a drone. These are pretty much block, what we call block 30 GE engines, except there's a few others in there also. Most of those diamonds are flying like I said, block 40s or 50s, they're biggest and active duty ones. That's come up on the left. We have 3 F-8s over here and some instrumentation measuring the temperature of the building. Those airplanes are there to test this part I'm holding up. Called spray rack, spray latex, spray rack. Basically what they do when you seal an airplane up is put these cardboard inserts and big intakes and tape up the big seam. Then they spray on this black spray rack and the more thickness and on the thickness they like it. And then they put a weight for that. What's the weight good for? Reflect the sun. Helps keep the cockpits below about 120 degrees out here, because it will keep the cockpit within 10 or 15 degrees of the outside temperature. If they keep these cockpits below 165, it preserves the instrumentation, fabric in the seats, and all that kind of stuff. The passive buildings there, that's where all the kind of administration stuff happens here. I think right now we only have 2 military people working on this place, 600 acres. The General Colonel, recent Colonel Sniper, the civilian government is in charge right now. So we really only have 2 military people working there. But they have about 650 civilian employees, what we call here in America civil service employees. Most of them are ex-military, about 70% are ex-electricians, ex-electricians, electronic specialists, hydraulic specialists, fuel specialists, you name it. They now live in Tucson area with civil service workers and the worker involvement. 600. Receiving departure ramp and hold drop rate. So you see what C-130s there, P-3, A-10 sitting there, and F-16. Hard to tell what's coming from because this is the receiving and departure ramp. There's 2 yellow hands, the white doors all open. That's when we take the F-16s and then start putting them back in the proper condition. That's a reclamation, basically, regeneration mission to regenerate F-16 to be drones. That's the kind of thing the private condition and what's called an MCM pilot, National Certified Pilot, and a test pilot. Guys over 18 in there, certified airway, sometimes you have to fly 2 or 3 times, make sure it's all airway. Then Boeing Corporation pilot coming to fix it up, takes it to C-64 in Jacksonville. Boeing has the contract to keep it in the drones. Anytime we're flying over America airspace, previous route mission, we have a pilot in the seat. Obviously, anytime something can be shot at it, nobody's sitting in the seat. So those flying over the composition for called combat archer, and shoot stuff at them, and also over light sanity next to them. This is actually here for right where airplanes come in out of the bonnet. And we're on the way this way down into the lake. All these C5 systems are into land, the only airplanes right now that are able to call T-1000 stacks, which means those C5 regulars do not have parts taken off of them without special permission from the very high up. Because if we ever get into another conflict and we need some strategic area, we're not going to take the capable right now to regenerate those C5 probably of most of the Then it has a nice kind of a holding area, old missile territory, missile type 1. It's all Eisenhower, base 34, and it's put up the feet back there. That area is a whole area for museums, DSWs, American Legion to America. Some of those request working from service. It's stuck in there to two requirements. Number one, you have to get the baby out of there. And number two, you have to get whatever service else it is. Pick it up, make it up to it. And now onto the junkyard side I told you about. There's a lot of pieces missing off airplanes here. Although we have some airplanes here that could reach out right over here on this side. Right after this tank, they're all busted up. The Tchockozzo Tchockozza on the front here will slow down just a little. So I would point out to the right here, WD-57. That was best for weather, although this did a lot of other missions like flying through the top of the nuclear detonations. I had a strong commander one time actually do that. But I just point that out because that wingspan is 122 feet long.
Olha o da GFC.
120 feet. So that wingspan is 2 feet longer than the regular. Light rockets here, some of them have camouflage in the radar. Those are missing those things. I don't know if you pilots come in and they can call it crunch to land. Slaps on them, run up tracks here. There's starting to destroy some of our Force. But how this organization makes some of their money by selling our allies parts. So we still have 5 allies around the world flying F-4s. We're going to have a lot of F-4s here with our allies no longer flying F-4s. I'm going to kind of talk to the right just about doing a U-turn to come back, so I'll talk to this on the way down. This is one of the U-1 bombers. U-1 is the guys who long time here, but always work. F-18s here, so there were F-18s, a lot more F-4s. I'm going to see the field of C-130s here to the right, and also on the left of the F-18s. A bunch of people from Australia. That's what these people did. F-111. Australia used to fly. I talked to a couple years ago when I was doing something called Fred and all this. We had boots fly around Australia parts and stuff like that. C5s here. One has a damaged tail right there. They got damaged by something down there about a month ago. Ripped the tail off of it. Believe it or not, C5 is pretty tight on its footprint, especially if it doesn't have fuel or engines. A couple of years ago, Mike the first one was C5, ripped the tables out around and put the engine trees and slammed the tail on the other C5. So it's amazing what a microburst on a thunderstorm can actually do. Most of these I have parts stripped off. Well, those C5s right there probably never fly if there's so many parts missing. Same thing with all these helicopters. Look, a lot of these things have G with the red S too. They're going to be shredded out of these short Okay, Jonathan had to start using them for circle. Real back to the right over here. A lot of pieces of B-52 bombers back there. Over the years, we built 744 different versions and models of B-52. Like I said, we're only flying H bombers right now.
Tem avião, hein?
Due to the first start treaty, Two-Weeks Arms Production Treaty, we had to cut out 314 of those G models. And then due to the second start treaty, we had to cut out 39 more. It's just ended a couple of years ago. They invited all us up to watch the last cutout. Back there is where they cut up the B-52s. Then they kind of angled the parts of the Soviets when they came over their satellite and confirmed that we cut out what the Soviet were going to cut out. And of course, we were doing the same thing as they cut up their bombers. Used to be able to back, no, we didn't lose the U-turn here. There used to be a bunch of tool and die area here, which we called the A-Mark-C because there was so many rattlesnakes and stuff like that. Okay, as Jerry does a U-turn, if you look to the right back here, you can see a radar sticking way up. It's hard to see just barely by my tanker. That's the Air Force version, although that's a NATO version of the AWACS. That's a 135 airplane, which is this one and a 707. That radar spins around. Basically, it's right there, and that tells you where the bad guys are. And if you have a lot of friendlies around, you can actually act as an FAA control around us for you. We'll beat up tankers here, even some old A models, I believe. Got a couple 707s left here. One time there were 200 of these old airliners here. Well, this isn't a civilian storage area. The military bought 200 of these for $400,000 a piece. They were pretty much junk when the Air Force bought it. And I said, why did they buy it? Well, believe it or not, it had $4 million worth of engines on it that were better than what our tankers had at the time. So one of the maintenance missions they did here is as we're flowing in here, maintenance guys here put those engines off. The margins were 500 8-pound tankers in here, put those engines on, and became AC 135E models. And those are our models right there.
Muito bacana.
Let's come up and right over here, we see all those P3 Orions. I've already kind of talked about the patrol mission, but if you look at the back of these, you see the stinger sticking out, what they call the stinger. That's that nav system for a P3, magnetic anomaly detection system. When you turn on its instruments inside, and that boom back there, we swear disturbance under the water. Look about 300 or 400 feet up there under the water. So magnetic field disturbance, which is probably a submarine. Well, there was all guys coming up on the right. Again, that's the Navy version of the UX. That's the radar gun down the boot and cut all that. Good example of how Navy airplanes are designed. You fold the wings up, the wings kind of fold, crank back. Make more room out of aircraft. You know, there's some pipes coming out there. If you look at the second row back, about the fourth mounting has a bat wrapped around the tail. Some nose. You see how the pipe is going with the time to fold up in the next configuration plus the top. That flows very softly to the road ends and lift it fold up.
É isso aí, galera. Vamos pro próximo vídeo. Continua acompanhando que tá ficando massa, tá ficando bom.